in Greece, it's there are things that I see that every time I'm like, oh my God, this is basic. Why do we have this here? But there are some other times that I'm thinking that all this technology and innovation goes so quickly that of course it's difficult for people to understand that this is something that has become basic. And I don't know how to say it, but I remember the first time I saw like UI UX in my life, and I was like, what is this? And why is this important? And after like 5 6 years, I'm like, wow, this is so important.
So, this is a highly anticipated episode. You and I have been meeting for over a year now, I think, or maybe close to a year.
Close to, I think, from March.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, since March. Wow, time is a conundrum. We
Yes.
met through we met through Women Innovators Network, and they paired us up for the mentee program. You've been my mentee for since March, and I also just feel like we have a really great relationship. I think of you not so much a mentee, but as my counterpart in Greece. Everything that you're doing, we have so much in common too. I was wrapping up my MBA. You were wrapping up your MBA around the same time. You won so many awards. You celebrated me winning my Realties Award. Your agency is just an awesome place from the sound of it. And you've been really integral and valuable to them since the early days. And a lot of our trajectory and our roles are very similar because of the way that we approach marketing, but also operations and developing leaders. So I know we have a lot to talk about. We want to keep it as focused as possible too. But before we go into anything marketing wise, would you share a little bit about your background, Tanya, and what got you into marketing? Maybe share a little bit about Value Agency and the work y'all do.
Yes, of course. Well, marketing was like an inspiration for me, let's say, because my bachelor is in applied mathematics. So someone would say, what a person from like mathematics trying to do in digital marketing. And I would say that I started and everything started with value. Someone would say that I wear two hats, let's say. One, it's that, okay, of course, both are pretty exciting ones, but from now, I'm like for 2 months now, the general manager at this agency. And I'm very proud and I'm very happy that I worked hard all these years for this position. But also, my other role is in strategy. I like creating ideas. I like taking up on challenges, and I don't know. I'm passionate about what ideas and new technologies bring and how they change the environment of marketing. It's totally different from when I started. So, like every day, something new comes up, and you need to be ready for it. And of course, the best part is that sometimes it's easier to handle a client, but it's very difficult to be able to pass your vision to your team. So with all these hats that I'm wearing, I'm trying every time to like focus on a different goal each time I'm speaking, if it's a client or if it's a team member. Of course, like you said in the beginning, I finished my master in the digital marketing and business transformation. So what I knew like in practice, I got my degree as well. And this helped me also a lot because I found ideas from these teachers on how to pass some information to my own team. And of course, I want to say that this year has been very grateful because I had you helping me a lot. So it's something that I'd like to say. You helped me a lot with how to manage my team and the clients. So it was, I don't know, it was a great year for me. And even though I'm doing a lot more than what I said, I believe these are the basic ones.
I love it, Tonya, and it's so true. We are so alike in so many ways. I feel like our relationship was very much a mutual benefit. You helped and encouraged me, and it was great to be able to share what I've experienced. We are so much alike from that understanding that we know how to manage a team and build out operations and structure to set our teams and our clients up for success. But on the other side of things, we love strategy too. And I don't think we'll ever be able to divorce ourselves from that. So I really want to dive into areas where you are that master and you have worked so hard to understand and support the clients that you have and the team that you're working alongside and coaching. So let's dive into B2B strategy because that's the area that you're owning and that's the business model that you all have at the agency. Is that right?
Yes, usually we work with both B2B and B2C, but B2B is my favorite one, I would say, because it's totally different from B2C view. Well, I think there's a complexity that's in the sales cycles they have. For example, there are some of them that they don't respond so quickly because, for example, in B2C, you just go and buy something from an e-shop or something else. But in B2B, someone needs to contact them. You take like longer time. Usually, it's more budget wise oriented. So, someone, in order to trust you, you need to show all your USPs. You need to build your website to guide all the users from the one place to the other. You need to show all your case studies, your awards, like an agency. It's a
Yeah.
B2B service, so it's totally different. And the stakeholders have like technical users, financial approvers, and executives. So the decision making it's much more difficult than for me buying something. So that's make it very hard to do, but also very exciting because usually we have like common habits and the way we think. So if you know and you try to put in your strategy all this data we have now, it's very easy to use. And of course, I would say that we place like a huge emphasis on SEO for the B2B because like you need long term organic authority. So this is very very important to your lead magnet strategy then, because you need to find for people to be able to find you for what exactly you do. And sometimes like now that we have AI, we have, for example, clients in low code platforms. So someone that doesn't know needs to you need to not only the company, but you need to explain the business. Sometimes you need the business, but you don't know that you need it. So you need to do all this training as well to the user.
It can be a little bit challenging, I think. Well, even understanding SEO, and now we have AEO and
Yes.
GEO, engine optimization, and all the nuances there, and understanding the importance of it and how it works. And I also see that clients are getting savvier because there is more information on these topics. However, they need a guide and they need someone like you, someone like myself, other people out there, other agencies or individuals who are able to help them, but it can get very overwhelming. So I'm curious, with all of that said, before we go into solutions and how you like to guide them through that lead gen strategy, what is the ultimate pain point right now for businesses, especially the ones that you're working with? What are they all struggling with? Because you noted things have changed, times have changed. I've certainly seen and experienced that. And
Yes.
so pain points are going to change for them too, right?
Yes. I think that while the time passes and new technologies come around, like there are new companies that coming and taking ideas, or there are easier ways to do some of the things that you were doing in the past, especially in B2B. I think that what it's the data driven part. Nowadays, you have so many data and so many things you take your information, but at the same time, if you don't use the correct ones on you don't have the correct insights to move forward. You can go in a totally different wrong way that can like stop your whole process of strategy. For example, we had a client in the logistics. We started by doing SEO and geo, and like things were growing and we were going very well. But suddenly he said, okay, we want to go now to different markets. And we're like, what? He said, we're ready. And I said, no, we're not. Our basis is for what we're doing now. We need a new strategy. So sometimes in B2B, when you want to go in new markets and like to lead the way from like the first touch point they have through the final sale for a B2B. It's a very complex like procedure, and sometimes they think, oh, it's very automated. We will do the same thing. It's like, yeah, but they miss all of the lifetime value, let's say, that we had until now. So you go again to communication, and they were like, okay, you should have communicated this to me from the beginning because we would have created different strategy. That's very, very common in all the sectors. We worked like with logistics, with AI and new technologies, with invoicing, with many kind of different companies. Sometimes you need like to take a step back, and I would say that it hurts me a lot when we have done so much work for something and we need to go back to do something different.
I can totally understand that, and I think what you're speaking to is the idea that strategy is where you're going to well, how you're gonna win and where you're gonna play, right? And I ascribe to that Roger Martin strategy is where are we going to play and how are we going to win there? And if you are expanding or looking to grow, to your point, you need a new strategy that explains this expansion of where you're going to play and how you're going to win. And the choices that you make are going to be different from the choices that you made prior. And you pick up on the nuances of that and understanding that it can be probably maybe oversimplified in a client's mind because they don't understand all the work that goes into building out that strategy and the choices that you have to make to get to that strategy overall.
Yes, and sometimes it's not only the marketing. You need to build your whole company strategy to go to different markets, for example. So, like, it won't work, for example, if I bring like 100 leads, but they can support like two. It's so sometimes, there's like this miscommunication, let's say. So that's something difficult because you need to get in the mind of and see all the different aspects so you can be prepared.
Well, you're talking about another topic that I love too, and that's the idea of scaling and scaling your operations, right? Well, we're really talking about rev ops, right? And the understanding that if you're going to try and increase your revenue, you have to build the infrastructure and be ready for that to support the increase, especially in the leads that you're going to be getting. And that's not something that can just, snap your fingers overnight happen either. There's a lot of cross-functional alignment, which is a very corporate word, but or phrase, but something that needs to be considered. Otherwise, all of that great marketing work that you and your team are doing is going to go to waste if they're not able to support it and understand the different needs now that their strategy is offering them and providing them.
All the times, but it's very common, or like actually it's it's not bad to happen, let's say, because sometimes you're getting excited, you're like thinking bigger. So someone needs to help you to take a step back and see everything that needs to be done in order for all this bigger thinking to become like an action and steps.
So you get to be that guide and that advisor, that counselor for your clients, and
Like to believe that I am.
I love that. I think that's great. And yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, especially as long as everybody understands the work that's involved in the conversations that need to happen. So, Tonya, tell me, once you've maybe gotten through that hurdle and identified what needs to happen, or maybe this is something that happens before too, what are you explaining to clients? How are you walking them through? How are you building out that strategy for them? If I were a new client, what would you wanna know about me or get to know? And then what are the types of choices that you're making to build out that B2B strategy?
So I would say that we always start with the digital foundation. We say here in Greece, you can pour water into a leaky bucket. Yes, I don't know if you say it as well. So the essential building blocks, let's say, are like first we're starting with the site and the website and the UX experience of a user. Sometimes when a user is found in our website, they don't know exactly what they're looking for. So we need to guide them and help them why they need to choose us, what's important, what exactly do they want. So we need to put all these steps in our website, and that's what UI UX actually does most of the times. So in order to be able, like, is the website technically flawless? No, sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. But in order to use that, you need to like do an audit, see what's happening, how you miss your users. So when you do a UI UX audit, you usually see the pinpoints, you use heat maps, you use like contrast maps, you check with each other if the design is something that's bothering. If it's a site that's online, you can have recordings from different like tools, analytics, like map your whole user experience. So I believe that's the first and most basic step, because if a user like goes on a website and sees nothing interesting, he will go back, and if it's a bad experience, they won't return. I mean, why should they return?
Yeah.
So that's the most important part, I would say. But also, we don't have to forget also the loyal users, because there are users that they have tried our solutions or what we do. So it's very important to help them find easier next time what they want, or sometimes if they want, what other, I'm happy from this service, what other services do you have? So we can help them find them more, like to keep them loyal. So these are the the basics that we need to build. It's very important for me. And I would say, like, as a second, the conversion path we built, because we map, like I said in the beginning, our lead magnet strategy, and what high value source are we giving away to capture the lead. So I would say that this is very important, because sometimes, we do all the steps, we bring everyone to the website or to call or something like this, but there is also the operations after inside. So this matters a lot, because you need to be sometimes quick. Sometimes you also need to have steps that show what you give outside, because we have built all that you can do and your USPs, but the client and the B2B company is the one that they will persuade the other company to invest in them and in what they're doing. And I would say, like, third, like something like an activation. We focus heavily on targeted ads to reach like decision makers, pushing them to optimize side pathways. Like, we have specific topics or interests that they count. And we go back to the beginning if the site, of course, is optimized and the targeting is precise. Everything else like falls into place, like, especially now with all these new technologies and AI, everything else like works very quickly for me. So yeah, that's what like we do, I would say, like step by step.
It's a great breakdown, and I wanna point out too that, um, you mentioned how important data is, and it's really the foundation of where you're starting from, right? Because you're collecting all this insight and info, and then you're able to see where the pain points are for the customer's journey throughout that website and where the breakdown is.
Yes, something that it's very important, from data comes the strategy. So all the personas, what the competitors do, everything that you need to have comes from that. So it's very, very important to be sure that you have someone that can help you read this kind of data in the correct way. Because even if you're a B2C company, not only a B2B, like, you need the data. And if you have the correct data, example, something that's very important for e-shops, it's CRO optimization, like
Mm.
conversion rate. So all this strategy that I said can be like also created for a B2C plan, and but with different goals and points like to focus, but yeah, it's what we do as users in our common life. The digital is the same with our common life.
And you mentioned lead magnets and having that value offer to help drive conversions. And I'm really curious. I am curious if you're seeing any changes or have had to adjust and make changes to lead magnets and what that strategy looks like, because we have AI now and a lot of people are using those platforms to do their own searching for information. I'm wondering if that sort of diminishes the value in a lead magnet, and what you're doing to make sure that those lead magnets are valuable and something that people do want to exchange their information for.
I would say like I will answer with a very like simple example. For example, when you first time seeing a website and it's a company that you really love and you know that it's doing great job, but when you're getting inside, it has no interesting content. You just imagine like your first view is like a lot of information, but nothing actually matters and you don't have anything to read. So, like they have like they're a great service provider for something that you want, but as you scroll down, you scroll a lot, or you don't have like CTAs in specific parts that, oh, let's see, I want to, this is interesting as well. Are they doing something like this? So, if you are not keeping the user excited when they're getting inside, AI doesn't know how we will react. They have, of course, the data, but even if you give them data, and what they usually do is you give them your ideas and they can make them action. But if you don't give them the ideas, or if you don't have these ideas, because usually when you're getting on a website that's like crazy with all like information, like many different colors, and there are like some strict parts but also some friendly parts, so like you feel like, wow, what happened? So the AI can't help you, because usually when you see a website like this, it means that the company behind it is not sure what to focus, so they give like all the information. But in a good lead magnet strategy, by using the AI, you usually like, for example, like we said, there's geo. Before AI, I would use like SEO to be organically up, to keep my people without like more budget in ads by getting like different kind of blogs. You still can create this kind of different blogs for the AI, because everyone like, how can I find this company and do that? Tell me your 10 best companies in Europe, in America, in Greece, I don't know. So you need, I would say, to take advantage of what they're using and the data the AI is using to produce this information now, and take this data and put them in your strategy for the lead magnet. So it's not that it changed, you just have more data that you need to use correctly in order to like go to the next level for me.
I'm curious, Tonya, when you're building out a conversion funnel, what does that look like? Because I feel that we have overcomplicated what funnels are. And I just feel like I see so much information out there from everybody about this kind of funnel and that kind of funnel and do this and do that. And I want to acknowledge there's a nuance and you need to tailor your marketing strategy and tactics to your business, right? What I'm saying is I don't think it should be cookie cutter. However, there's got to be a simpler way to understand it and to break it down for our clients to understand too. So, how do you approach building that conversion path, and what are some elements to it that are must-haves or things that you know you need to adjust depending on who the client is?
Well, it depends on what data you have, or if you don't have data at all. For example, if you're starting like a new brand or in a new market or something like this, the first part is to start with the awareness. You need to get your brand to be known, and or the products that it has, or the services. I think it's very important, and you like how the funnel is that you go from the big part to the smaller one. It's the most difficult part, because you usually go to cold audience. So it's very, very important to reduce as much as you can your costs. So what we usually propose is like having videos and using channels for ads that will explain very quickly in videos what they do, what they give, what's their USPs, and they will intrigue the user to learn more about them. And of course, if it's like YouTube, it's important like to stop all the important information a bit like less, so you don't have the cost you want in the videos. And the cost is very, very low. For example, in Greece, it's approximately like 0.05 per video view. So it's very, very low. So you can go to your cold audience with reduced cost, and then to go to the consideration part, you can create traffic campaigns with people that you have on your list and they have seen the video and they're interested in you. So you have like lower cost in your traffic campaigns that you need to put the user to do one more action in order to move forward. And of course, in the conversion, that's the most difficult part, you have like even less cost from what you usually have because you have and the video viewers and the ones that they have visited your website, they have seen your ads to add. So it's very, very important to have like specific lists in every part of the funnel and use like specific social media or Google Ads or Microsoft Bing. Like everything you use needs to be like calculated in these parts, and you need to build this funnel in different channels because different channel, different audience you keep. So I would say this is very important. But in order for this funnel to work, I would say that you need a website that someone that has joined from the traffic ads will be able to click and see more than for you to keep them like interested. Because if the website is not correct, or even the tracking, if you don't track correct and you like track the wrong things, your ads won't be able to be optimized well. So we're going back, I know, but for me, the website and the digital marketing, it's like your whole digital presence. So it needs to be like pixel perfect, like we say here. It
Oh,
needs to
I
be,
love that.
yeah,
So
it
perfect.
needs, yes, it needs to be great. And of course, it can't be all the times, but you need to give good experiences. And even if it's even an app and yeah, like you have app downloads and not like the conversion is your app download, if someone has bad experience, they won't join. And if I want to download it next time and see the reviews and there are bad reviews, I won't do it. So the whole experience of your digital presence, it's very important. Even if you have great marketing for me and you do like great funnel, great strategy with reduce all the costs, if your basis it's not well, it won't work. Even if you put like a lot of budget, you just, well, spend your money for me.
Yeah, it's that leaky bucket that you were talking about,
Yes,
right? Yeah, and you have to have that strong foundation. Your website is a place that you can own that space, and it's not like social media where algorithms change and features are updated and you have no control over that, and you really have very limited organic social media. But even in paid socials, there are challenges there, right? In terms of attracting the right audience, and your website is where you're driving people to, hopefully, at the end of the day. So if that almost last stop final destination is a really bad experience, then you're not going to convert and you will
exactly.
lose that audience that you've been building and driving and aiming to convert. Yeah.
And that's why you usually work like with attribution modeling or with tools about conversion rate optimization, because when you get users on your website, sometimes you need to test because different kind of users are interested and they think and like the way they try to find what they want, it's totally different from sometimes what we expect. This is very
Hmm.
common. Um, it's important after that to be able to track, to do A/B testing. Sometimes the users need to see some, like you need to do A/B testings in your website. Like 50% needs to see this, and 50% needs to see something like this. Also in your ads, the same, because we need, especially in the beginning, to track what they're interested in. And when we find it, we need to using the best way that can.
So With your agency, do you have a sort of structured approach to the services that you're offering for your clients? Is it strictly pay? Do you have to, as a client, do you have to commit to a certain amount of paid as well as organic? How do you go about approaching those kind of agreements with your clients, or knowing what you're going to end up doing with them? Because I could see, a lot of agencies might, especially in B2B, they might be limited in terms of advertising budget, depending on how large that business is and what their resources are. So I'm curious, when you're building this out, what are the main services, if you will, services to strategy, essentially, that you're working on with your clients? How are you structuring that, making sure they get what they need and not just sort of overloading them on digital marketing, you know?
I would say that to start, they usually need to give us a goal. And okay, you want to do advertisement, because sometimes they said, I want to do ads in LinkedIn. And we're like, okay, why? So you need to start to find the goal. Usually they know, or they search for it. So, or they're thinking that this will help them, but we're trying to go a bit, like, take a step back and see, okay, forget what you want right now. Let's see, what do we have as resources? Like, this is the budget. This is what we can do. We have this time, because the client also needs to have time to check things, to be able to work and stuff. So sometimes the time is also important for them. If they think that everything will go like, oh, very smoothly, and we won't need anything, that's not true. So we need to see what budget and time they have to spend on that. And then the goal. The goal is very important, because you need to have KPIs to track your progress. But also, it's very important to know from the beginning that, okay, with this budget, this goal won't be able to be succeeded in this time that you want. So we usually take all this data and we make some projections on what we can bring. But in order to do these projections and for them to work, we have like some stars, like some things that we need to keep in mind. And like, if something big comes in, like round or a war starts, so I don't know. So we can help with that. If your website is not well and we bring people to your website, but they don't buy or they don't leave their contacts, we need to fix this. So we can bring you these projections and what we promised, but we need to have like a really good basis to start with. Or for now, we can go do one more step back. First, start and create this basis, and then go to the next goal, because this is very, very important. And depending on the company, if it's a B2B, B2C, or even B2G sometimes, or if it's like how known it is, because we have like clients that start from the beginning, and we have clients that they're like known in many parts of the world, or like in Greece only, but they're very big clients. The strategy is totally different, and we usually make for everyone custom-made strategies. For example, we have someone that we're cooperating with that started a business, and she wanted to do advertisement, and we were like, no, you don't need to do it. Won't like go. Your competition puts a lot budget in that, and you don't have to spend it. Let's first build your SEO, bring organic traffic. Your money would be more like, of course, we will take more money if we like do your ads, but it's important to have a good basis. So we help her create her website. We help her with SEO and blogs and things like that. So like after 3 months, her SEO was great. It in a very, very short term, even though Google needs like 2 or 3 months to read most of the things you upload correctly. It worked very fast. And she was happy because the people were finding it organically. So after you build all this, Google will help you with ads as well then. So all the things that sometimes you need to like do 1, 2, or 3 steps back and not go with what the client wants, but propose what you believe is correct, because that's why they came to you. That's what I believe. Of course, if they want to like move forward with something different. It's totally understandable. But you on from your part, you have like informed them that this will work, but it will go like very late to work. That's how it works. These are the data. I've got everything for you. So I think that's the most important part for me. This whole process.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of conversations about client management and expectations, right? And every time we've chatted, you're always on a really strong path and helping to manage those
Yes.
expectations. It's challenging nevertheless, and I'm always surprised by something new that might come up because humans are even though human behavior is universal, there's always going to be something different or new, or they might get shiny object syndrome. So in a lot of ways, especially in the agency world, you're helping to guide your clients as well as guide their audience and their conversion path too.
Yes.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because making sure that you're serving the needs of your clients and what their marketing will require, but also managing those expectations is really important in helping them understand the reality of the outcome that could be produced with the budget that they have. And that is difficult, so I applaud you for that. I'm curious, when it comes to the projections, you said that you'll put a little star in some of those fields. Is that because there are things outside of your control, right?
Exactly.
Happening, yeah, within a country, or you also made the point about making sure the website is optimized. Do your clients have you working on their each client have you work on their website, or are there some clients where the website is outside of your control and you can't really do anything other than recommend, uh, paths to optimize?
They're both. We have clients that we're having their websites and we're helping them so it works. There are clients that we're trying to recommend things and help them the best way that we can. And that's why not only the technical part is important, like to run fast or like to not make the user wait, but sometimes what I see is that you don't even have there are websites that they don't even inform their user for the next action. Like, oh, I pressed this button and you wait. And what am I waiting? Did I press it? Is it okay? Or some guys, oh, I'm in the pages with the cases. And what's then next? I mean, you need to have a form there. Oh, I'm interested. Or let's go to a different page and see more. Like, it's very basics. I don't know. In Greece, it's there are things that I see that every time I'm like, oh my God, this is basic. Why do we have this here? But there are some other times that I'm thinking that all this technology and innovation goes so quickly that of course it's difficult for people to understand that this is something that has become basic. And I don't know how to say it, but I remember the first time I saw like UI UX in my life, and I was like, what is this? And why is this important? And after like 5 6 years, I'm like, wow, this is so important. So sometimes you see new things and you don't know, if you don't use them, how much they will help you. But yeah, you need to test them. And sometimes it's not only data and projections, but you need to trust the person that you have and the company that you hire, that they know what they're doing, and that's why they're proposing it. So
You're making a really great point that, it used to be new and now it's basic and it's a foundation to having strong conversions for your business. So I'm curious, with all the new technology that's out there and new ways of using it or adapting to it, what is the one thing that everybody needs to have for good UX design and conversion paths? Or what's the one thing that's working right now that everybody is kind of like a non-negotiable? You have to have this one element.
well, if you're an existing company, for me, you need to have real data of what your user wants and doesn't want, or where like the part of the website or the process of the sales, or everything that may bring a stop to the conversion process for him, like came. So this is like a must for me. Without this, you can do anything for your strategy, and even if you do, it won't be correct, and or you won't have the best results you can. So, and even if you don't have, like, if you start anew and you don't have data, or you didn't track well before and you don't have data now, because this happens a lot as well. For me, that's why there is AI. AI can predict how the users are moving. We have like an AI tool in our company that's AI predictive analytics. So you can see how the user is moving and predict this whole design that you have done, if it will work or not. So there are ways, even if you don't have sometimes data, to work on them. For me, the best is to combine and the AI and the data, because it will make like an excellent result. But even if you have one or the other one, you can either way do something great for me. But that's the most important part, and we need to work well with like what it's progressing now and what's moving, because I'm pretty sure that we will see in a while ads in ChatGPT. So
Yeah.
like we need to be ready for the next step as well.
Agreed. I love that use of AI. Is that a tool that you all came up with, or is that AI tool out there for everybody to use?
They're both. There is a tool that we have created based on the AIs that exist now,
Mhm.
to help us with our work. But there's also like from big universities, AI tools like this that they're able to use as well. So it depends on what you want. It's time. You can find a way to use it.
What's like the one tool that you would recommend people use if they want to review their website and test out that heat map or contrast mapping, or test out the user experience? What's something that you would recommend for
I
everybody
would
to?
say a very easy tool. It's Microsoft Clarity. It's free. You get session recordings, you get heat maps, you can see bounce rates, scroll depths, you get data for the website that analytics don't give you. So yeah, I would say this is for me it's a nice and easy tool to use, and everyone can use it.
I love that. Great. Great advice. Tonya, we are wrapping up our episode. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Me as
I
well.
wonder, do you have 30 seconds for a quick rapid fire question round?
Okay, I don't know what's the rapid part.
Let's
How
do
rapid
it.
can I be? But okay, let's do it.
Okay. All right. You ready? So, what is a UX myth that should disappear forever? Like everybody should stop doing this or stop telling people to do this in their UX design.
Well, I would say that the great UI automatically equals with great UX. That's not true. A messy and fast website that converts is always better than a slow and beautiful website that doesn't. So
One thing every B2B company should fix on their website today. Like, what's one thing? You have to fix it.
I would say to guide them in failure, because like stop letting high value prospects wander. You need
Mm.
to have B2B website that must be proactively lead the user with like crystal clear content that immediately showcases what their USPs are, what they're doing, what's their solutions, and why they need to go with them.
What is one like non-negotiable marketing philosophy advice that you will adhere to? It is your piece of advice for everybody, no matter what.
I would say that you need to build on trust and like transparency, because whatever you do, if you're a company, if you're an agency or anything, if there's not trust, or what you do is not showcased, or your client doesn't have the data to see it, it's not important, because at the end he will not understand them. For
That's
me,
great. What is the best advice you've ever received as a strategist?
I think I received it from you. I said it in the beginning as well, that sometimes when I get nervous on what it will work, we need to remember that, okay, we don't have to invent something that doesn't exist. All the problems have like arisen in different ways in a different way and to different cases before. So there's not something that you don't have someone else that doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, that idea, there's nothing new under the sun. We
Yes.
can innovate. We're headed into 2026. So last question, what is something that you feel will be important for strategy or for clients in 2026 that you would offer as advice or recommendation?
Well, I'm excited to see where AI goes and the new tools that there are coming because it's time something new comes up and I'm excited to see and test it. I would say um my biggest personal, let's say, spoil for 2026 would be that because we spoke a lot in our conversations, but I love a Chinese market. So, because they grow so fast, I believe this is the ultimate challenge for me and for the things that we want to do. And I want to put these strategies that I have and these good relationships I have with Chinese companies into action.
Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us. I know we could go on for a lot longer because there's so much more we could dive into. We'll
True.
probably need to have a part two. But how would you like people to find you online? Do you want them to connect with you or the agency? How would you potentially like people to find you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. So I have all my information there. And the company is value.marketing on the internet. So even on the website, even there, they can find me. I'm very easy to be found because I'm like everywhere, I think.
You're a good marketer. You're a great marketer, actually.
Yes, even though I don't do so many things for myself. But oh yeah, and I'm happy to answer other questions as well. I really liked what we discussed today. And yeah, I can't wait for more.
Definitely. We'll have more convos to come. Well, thank you so much for being a guest and thank you all
Thank
for
you as
listening.
well.
We'll catch you on another episode of Today in Marketing, the podcast. Thanks, y'all. Bye.